Hi, and welcome to the Ask Dr. Angela show with everyone's favorite OBGYN, Dr. Angela Jones. Have you ever been just too embarrassed or shy to ask your own doctor a question about your, private stuff? Well, you have come to the right place to get straight answers. Feel free to ask Dr. Angela anything women's health related. OBGYN, she keeps it real. Pregnancy, she knows what you're expecting. Whole body health, just ask. Dr. Angela has you covered, girl. And now here is Dr. Angela.
What's good, people? This is Dr. Angela, everyone's favorite self-proclaimed OBGYN, and I would like to officially welcome you to episode 41 of the Ask Dr. Angela podcast. I am so on a roll. I'm sitting here in my studio with my dog, Franklin Banklin. I think I shared with you all that I'm a huge Peanuts fan. And for any of you that know anything about the Peanuts gang, you'll know that Franklin is the sole black character in the Peanuts gang. And hence, because we have a black Labrador, it was only fitting that I name him Franklin. I previously had a chocolate lab whose name was Linus. I am just so excited to do this podcast. I love doing the podcast, but I've got to get all this stuff done when the opportunity presents itself. My wife is not here. My daughter is not here. And you just have to find those moments. And those of you that have kids can so relate to this. You got to find those moments where you can just get it in. And for me, that's either going to be really early in the morning before anyone wakes up, or really late at night when everyone is asleep. So I'm excited to be actually doing this at a decent hour during the day. The other thing that I am just over the moon with excitement about is that I am in the final editing stages of my prenatal book. It has certainly been a labor of love. Writing it was so easy for me because I really enjoy writing, but this editing part has been a real pain in the ass. I'm sorry to have to say that, but it's just been a real pain in the ass. And my editor always says to me, Angela, nobody likes the editing because it's not the sexy part. Well, you can certainly say that again, Hugh Smith. Anyway, it's almost done. And for the folks that have had an opportunity to read the book, they have been loving it. And I promise that I'm not just saying that because I wrote it, but it's very informative. It's fun. It's witty. It's to the point. And it's just really a good read. Even if you're not pregnant, I think that you were thoroughly going to be entertained. It certainly is written in the same voice as my blog post and anything else that you've seen published by me in various other magazines, etc. So let's jump right into today's topic, fetal kick counts. What are they? When do you start doing them? How do you do them? So you all know one of my favorite catchphrases. When you see me in the office, outside of how the heck are you doing, the next thing out of my mouth is baby moving and grooving? I always ask you that, and I ask you that because that's a really important way for me to assess how baby's moving. So basically, you initiate fetal kick counts after 28 weeks. Probably the easiest one to do, I say the easiest one to do because there are several different recommendations for performing fetal kick counts, but the recommendation that I use for my patients and that I find is the easiest is to record the number of movements over a 2-hour time span for baby. In English, that means that over 2 hours, you should feel at least 10 fetal movements. I typically, again, do not recommend that you initiate fetal kick counts until after 28 weeks. And fetal kick counts are a good way to assess fetal well-being. And you're just going to do it just like it sounds. Count baby's movements. Kicks, cartwheels, punches, turns, whatever. I oftentimes remind my patients that once they're in the latter stages of the third trimester, the type of movements that babies do is a lot different than earlier on. Earlier on, you'll notice that baby's doing like kung fu, gymnastics, etc., backflips. You know what I'm talking about. But again, once you get towards the latter stages of the pregnancy and getting very close to delivery, the movements are they're much more subtle. Just a lot more twisting, turning. However, that is still movement. So remember, fetal kick counts. Another way to assess fetal well-being, baby should be moving at least 10 times over a 2-hour time span. Remember, Fetal kick counts. If you don't feel baby meeting that criteria, or baby isn't moving and grooving, as I like to say, you need to call your obstetrician immediately. One of the things that I hate so much is when I get a phone call or I see a patient in the office and I'm like, is baby moving? And the patient is like, no. And then, of course, I'm like, well, how long has this been going on? And then the patient's like, a couple of days. Bah, wrong answer. If you don't feel your baby moving, you need to let your OBGYN know immediately. So I hope that helps people. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 41 of the Ask Dr. Angela podcast. I hope that you got something out of this one, and hopefully you're getting something out of the previous ones as well. If you have a question, a topic of interest that you would like addressed on the Ask Dr. Angela podcast, please go to www.askdrangela, that's AskDrangela.com. Click on the microphone on the right-hand side of the page and do what you do, baby. If we do happen to use your query on the Ask Dr. Angela podcast, someone from my team will reach out to you and we will send you, of course, one of our bomb-ass t-shirts. And again, it doesn't matter where you are. We do ship internationally. In closing, I'd like to leave you with this quote from Socrates. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Just something to reflect upon. Until next time, look better, feel better, be better. I'm looking forward to reconnecting with you on episode 42 of the Ask Dr. Angela podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Ask Dr. Angela podcast. For more information on women's health and the show notes for this episode, please visit Dr. Angela at www.askdrangela.com. While you're there, don't forget to leave your own message for Dr. Angela. See you soon. All of the information provided and discussed in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and should not take the place of consulting a physician. This podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any diseases or illnesses and does not and should not replace treatment for a medical professional. Listening to and participating in this podcast does not create a doctor-patient relationship between you and Dr. Angela Jones. If you need medical advice or assistance, you should consult a physician. Listening to and participating in this podcast is subject to the terms and conditions posted at drangela.com/terms.